we happened to turn on the TV, and Les Brown came on. Neither he nor I had ever seen anything like that before. And both of us left that room going, I didn't know that you could do that. Honestly, I felt like I was falling short. I think I just felt like, show the way. I don't know how to get from where I am to where I feel like you're calling me to be. It feels incongruent with my understanding of who I am. I'm the guy who gets picked on. I was also the guy who I was the guy that all the girls wanted to be friends with, but not date. You know, I was the guy who people felt safe to talk to for some reason, that would share their secrets. So I think that's the shy part of me. It was less that I got past the shyness and more that I just felt called to the service. We saw it as, I want you to know you're safe. Part of how I want you to know that is I'm going to share some of my journey that's not the shiny bits. When I become too obsessed with making it perfect, I've forgotten what my job is. And my job isn't to go there and be impressive. If you have a speaking opportunity, if you have a chance to serve a community, nobody puts you in front of the room to be impressive. That's not why you're there. I've always felt like too much and never enough simultaneously. Too much and never enough. And I found that when I was speaking, when I was singing, that too much was exactly what you wanted. That's what you were there for. And by too much, I'm talking about like I feel too deeply and I think too big and I go too deep in the words that I share and for people one-on-one, sooner or later is, God, you're a lot, but in that space, it was exactly what was called for. And it was the way that I could be a healing force in someone's world, just a little bit.
It's not our perfect bits. It's not our shiny bits that serve.
Right.
It's our humanity.
Yeah.
The sharing of the things that we think, I can't possibly say that. I can't possibly share that. That is what actually serves.
That's the juicy bits.
So my journey up until now has been continuing to show up and practice and make friends with the terror in me and heal the parts of me that were terrified because from prior lives experiences, I thought I was going to be killed or die or something really bad would happen to me if I spoke honestly and truthfully the wisdom I have to share. I'd say a milestone for me was trusting that whatever it was I said, that it was what was wanting to be said in the world, even when I would show up and I would be bursting out crying and going, oh. I wasn't going to let the shoulds and the fear of not having enough money push me forward. So I'd say that was a milestone, is choosing my joy ahead of the shoulds, choosing my trust in the divine and my inherent prosperity and abundance that was going to take care of me financially. And also trusting that there is divine timing, and now us being here today, I like have opportunities for speak literally falling in my lap because I have become so excited about living, so confident in who I am, so trusting of the universe that I am always provided for, that I'd say there's such a small percentage of me that even does this now for money, that it's just pure passion moving me forward. And so the impact I can make is even bigger than the impact I was making before.
Tell me a little bit more about what is your relationship to speaking now? Paint even more of that picture.
I enjoy it. I believe there is a model that helps to have some kind of structure. And that was a part of what I had. I had this love-hate relationship with structure, right? It was like, do I have the structure? Does the structure have me? So I'd say now, and I have made peace with structure. I have made peace with planning and preparation. I am now teaming and co-creating with groups of people that I didn't before, and it's exciting to me. Like the invitation to partner with you here today, it was literally, oh my God, this is so great. So I just immediately started doing all the preparation work. So I'd say now it's I enjoy the process, because it's not just the showing up in front of the people. I consider, at least what I do for a living, is the stand I take for whatever I am called to get up on a stage or the virtual stage to share for. I go through a transformational process before I even show up in the space with people. But I realized that my entire life had been based in fear. Like I was fear. I have literally transformed my relationship with fear. And what fear is, it's baked into our human condition. It's like literally a part of what we don't know that is in our cells. And the opportunity, what I've gone through personally and what I can now, like part of my embodying for other people, is to realize what it is. Like what the part of what holds you back is a story. And I don't mean to simplify this, but it's a story that you don't even realize is you. The more scared you are, the more important it is for you, because at some level, if you from my understanding and experience, is terror comes from attachment to something that is not real and something that is not you.
I'd say as a little kid, I think the context would be good to give here. I was a very shy kid. I grew up in an immigrant family. My parents immigrated to the US from Vietnam in 1980. And so I didn't know it at the time, but I definitely spent a lot of my time and energy to conforming and assimilating. It was just so natural to me. And on top of that, I had an overly critical father and a very codependent family, traditional family where the mother is submissive and the father is very dominating. And, his love was expressed through criticism. I mean, it's very Asian, unfortunately, to do that. And so he, really just criticized me all the time for the littlest thing, the way I dressed, the way I spoke, my school performance, of course. And so this journey in public speaking really began with not having a voice. And I remember we were singing this Latin song, really somber song about slavery, actually, but it really got me deep into my body. And I felt I want to say like the heavier sounds, I guess, the deeper sounds coming from the roots of me, rising up to my voice and projecting out of passion for this beautiful music. That really inspired me to use my voice to create this harmony with everyone else. And the teacher often gestured to me. She looked at me to kind of lead the second sopranos. Because I remember we got to this point in the song where it was essential that the second sopranos really honed in the note. It was the essential note that would create the harmony we needed at the peak moment in this whole song. And I looked around me, and the second sopranos, they didn't believe in themselves. They all sang very timidly. And I was really the only one who was able to hold that note. And I remember seeing my teacher, Mrs. Garrett, and she's like gesturing to me, more, yes, keep going, and bringing up the note, more. And I saw it in that moment, and I felt it in all of my body, how wonderful it was to get that affirmation that my voice was necessary. It was vital. I had a hard time finding my voice in my codependent marriage. I did not access true authenticity in my marriage for a very long time. In this really, it's a strange harmony that we found eventually, balancing out his anger with my vulnerability. My vulnerability brought up his anger. because he had learned it's not okay to be vulnerable. You're weak if you're vulnerable. You're going to get killed if you're vulnerable. And so my natural expression when I'm upset is I'm crying, and he couldn't stand it when he saw that. And all the trauma just like got all mixed up in this huge muddy mess. And we'd fight constantly every day for years. And it forced us to really look at all of this stuff festering underneath the surface. And if we were to move forward, we'd have to lay down our arms and embrace whatever is coming up. And so that means looking under the anger and the vulnerability and understanding that there's just a small child who's waiting for us to love it. And so my vulnerability woke up his vulnerability and helped him embrace it within himself. His anger helped me remember that I am powerful and that the anger serves for me to protect myself, that I'm worthy of love. The whole time as I'm on this journey as an EFT practitioner, doing these workshops and these speaking opportunities, I'm constantly remembering that I am doing this I am being of service first and foremost. I was unconsciously pushing away opportunities to grow as a business owner because I was afraid deep down to become visible.
I laugh because within your system and the masks that you talk about, Peppy Pleaser for sure was like my main mask, because I'm generally a very happy person. And I also have learned how to use the Peppy Pleaser mask in my life across many different ways. Like I can be upset and crying. I'll give a real life example is when I went through a breakup with somebody who was divorced and I was crushed over it. I still had my sales job and I was in the Tampa Bay area at the time. So there's a lot of bridges over water. And so I would, cry over the bridge and be like, okay, at the end of the bridge, I got to wipe it off to give my eyes a chance to not be red, to put on my sales face, to walk in as if nothing happened. And so I learned, I guess, through that and other things, how to flip on a switch. And one of the things that I've recently been able to articulate as it relates to this is that I learned that if I had a certain expression or set of expressions on my face or in my demeanor, or if I brought a certain amount of energy and excitement, that as a result, what I would see reflected back to me were smiling faces, people being excited, people being pumped up, people being like, woo, okay, I'm excited, let's go. And I liked that response. Once again, we can't always put these words when we go through the experience, but I can look back and see that I liked that response. So whether it be from the stage or on a Zoom, when you're scanning the room and you see like faces, you're like, oh my God, are they excited? Well, if I jump up and down, can I get them to jump up and down with me? That's what I used to do. And I was on a reality TV show called The Keynote, and I did that in one of the episodes. I was like, come on guys, rock your lifestyle, let's jump up and dance. And it's funny watching the people in the room. They're like, okay. And I wonder, if I were to do something like that from a different space and energy, it would give people permission to do that in a way that honored them and not just kind of in the same peppy pleaser, meet the face type of way.
Yeah.
You can still be good and learn how to hone your craft and your skill to be even better. What I love about speaking now is that it's more than what I perceived it to be all those years ago. To be able to have an energetic conversation with the people in the room, with you here on this podcast, with anybody I'm in front of, and to remember that when I'm more in my body, the message that I am speaking can have a bigger and greater impact for those who are meant to hear it and be impacted by it.
At age 39, my journey has been one of discordant to resonant. In some ways, this journey for me begins before language. I learned that crying wasn't going to necessarily get me what I needed. And so I just started my life by being very quiet. And as you know, as kids get older, as I got older, I got more and more curious. I ask questions about everything. I still do that. I think it's part of who I am. And um, I was considered annoying. And so part of how I'd like to share this story is actually through how other people perceived me, or the feedback that I got from other people. Um, because I think it's a fun way to like frame a story. And also, like, these are the beliefs that I accepted about myself. Being myself and acting more in my authenticity is when my life started to dramatically shift and people started treating me differently. Because up until that point, I had been annoying. I had been a problem. I had been not a good singer. There's a lot of not enoughness. And as soon as I was kind of like more or less forced into this situation where I had to be authentic, then all of a sudden people are saying things like, "Oh, you're so brave. I could never do that." And so,
Yeah, it's vulnerable to really be true to ourselves and to speak and engage with the world from that place.
mhm,
And so often I find that the person who's going through it is feeling the shaking,
mhm,
is feeling the vulnerability of, it's like I was pushed out into this incredibly vulnerable arena that was not my choice. And the people who love you, who are able to be there with you and for you through the fire, through the joy, through who you really are, through the singing in your real life, those folks are looking at you and saying you're so brave. And yet
mhm.
when you're in it, it doesn't feel like bravery. It feels like terror and trauma.
When does bravery ever feel like bravery? Whenever I do find these people who actually take time to hear me, to see me, um, not only does it like heal my heart and all of my young self heart, you know, but I feel like it's a gift to them too, you know, like, and this is part of why I do the work that I do, is because I know how valuable it is to be seen and to be heard. And I feel like you would understand that too, you know, like what a gift it is to both people when we get to see and hear each other and just be human and as we are. And so at this point, really all I had in my voice was that heart piece. And I had to use my voice to coordinate care. I had to use my voice to laugh again and be silly and kind of, in many ways, start as a child and be okay with that. And I mean, I've always been playful. Like I've got a mischievous streak in me that is not hard to see. But and I think leaning into that actually really helped me recover a lot faster.
Yeah, all that stuff
Like,
that in the early days people found annoying,
yeah,
the joy, the play, the childlike curiosity literally saved you.
it literally did. Yeah, thank you for recognizing that.
Follow the resonance all the way to magic.
Thank you. Thank you for listening. Thank you for hearing me. It is deeply healing to me to know that somebody I don't know yet has heard me.
It's rare when you get these moments when you're just being yourself. And I was sharing with you my experience with no attachment or expectation, and neither were you. And seeing how both of us showing up in our fullness has affected us both, and also is affecting the wholeness. It's these moments that are like, whoa, okay, what we're doing is real, and we're impacting each other, and maybe more so than we even know.
It's so amazing to have an example of both of us. I'm being me. I'm talking about things that I care about in a yoga teacher training. And so often we're taught that it's something other than being us We think we have to do something or be something that we're not in order to have an impact in the world. And every once in a while, you get these glimpses of, hey, you were being you, the you that feels more like breathing, speaking something that you felt like you had to say in that moment. And 5, 7, 10 years later, maybe you hear back of the impact that it had. And then if we multiply that times 100, 1,000, 10,000, that's our impact in the world.
It's these invisible ripples that we will most likely never know the impact of our impact. And once in a while, you're right, one of those ripples comes back. But yeah, you'll never really know how much impact you're having through the ripples you're sending through the world. There are these invisible winds, these invisible powers that you send out just through your being. I started to hear these soul suckers as I was teaching, and it was this sense of, I'm about to say something, that I hadn't said before, because I'm kind of like almost like I was like budding from a caterpillar to a butterfly. I'm kind of coming out in a spiritual way, saying, "Hey, this is actually who I am. This is actually what I'm about." I haven't been presenting that or sharing that because I was afraid, but now I am. And I remember I would start to say these things like, even something as simple as turn inward and notice how you feel. And I would say that, and I shared this with you before, Lori, is my voice would crack. Like, literally like a boy going through puberty, my voice would, and I don't know how many people noticed it, but I sure as hell started to notice it all the time. And it was embarrassing. It was uncomfortable. It was creating more anxiety and tension in me. And as I've learned, is the way you go to the other end of things is you got to go through these things. You can't bypass this and kind of go around it. It was like, okay, well, what's going on? Why is my voice cracking whenever I say something about soul, or I say something about a deeper layer of yoga? What is this? And it was about a year or so that I would talk, and in almost every class, my voice would crack. I wouldn't be able to get out my words. I would be fearful of what I was going to say. And I just kept doing it. And this is that spiritual awakening or spiritual puberty that I was going through at that point. And it's so interesting to talk about now, because now I'm very comfortable expressing myself and being authentic. And that's really one of my main missions right now, is to be authentic, or as Lori would say, be raw authentic, which really landed for me when we talked. So those moments of bringing awareness to what was in the background, stepping into it, and in front of people, 30, 40, 50 people, having these moments of just unsureness, and it was a great time looking back, though, as I moved through this. And now I've learned to actually talk through those things. And what I'll do is, when I hear that happen, if I say something that it doesn't come through, and you or Jeni might have told me this, is then I repeat it. And I make sure I get my point across, and I'll actually do it quite often. Like, no, this is what I meant. Say it with your chest, say it with your heart, say it with resonance. So it's actually taught me how to be very clear, even when I'm afraid of being clear. So that's kind of the initial waking up processes from the work that we did together, of really stepping into myself and then really then expressing myself. There's this soul that wants to come through and come forward and express. And then there's these parts of your personality, or these caricatures, that are nervous or scared or neurotic or protective. And they've been there because, well, we put them there, or our parents put them there, for us out of love, and they become these protective things. And it's interesting you bring that up. Something I've been working on quite deeply this whole year has been the saying of release the protector. And what I found is, and maybe actually what we're talking about is this kind of this original form of it, what I expressed with you, is I almost have this fascia, like this layer of like emotional fascia that protects me. And I'll feel it kind of shut me down, and notice my hands over my heart. And then when I go to do things or say things that are vulnerable or authentic, it wants to protect me, and it wants to keep those inside. So I've been consciously working with this mantra of release the protector, release the protector. And it's releasing, and it's there because it loves me. It's doing its job. But then this is the part of the consciousness of going, hey, that was working, but it's no longer working. It's actually creating pain and emotional pain now. And I would like you to lessen. And eventually I'd like you to leave. And you know what? And if I need you, I'll call you back in, because there's going to be a time when I do need you, and it's going to be appropriate to protect myself. But in general, I want to be more authentic. So releasing the protector, you're totally right. It's like there's a confidence piece here. You got to have confidence inside, maybe in third chakra, and it starts to go up into your heart of how you want to live. But then, the last piece is getting it out. You're totally right. And it's all these things. Don't say that. You're going to get judged. People don't know that version of you, or they're not going to like that version of you. And it's like, yes, that's okay.
Yeah.
I'm willing to lean into that.
Yeah. And the truth is, some of the people are not going to like that version of you.
Totally. Yep.
And our protector parts over amplify. They turn it into, no one will like me if I say this thing.
That's the teaching. It's not my teaching. It's not your teaching. It's the teaching. And someone in the room is going to have a meltdown and get angry and yell and maybe leave. And you got to sit there and go, that was perfect.
Yeah.
That was perfect for them, for me, for everybody. We're all here to learn and grow. And it may get messy and it may not be fun. But if you're not up for that, then maybe you shouldn't be on a stage, because that's part of the gig. Express what you feel and don't waste your last breath. Don't waste any of your breaths.
So for years, I was a ballet dancer. So I did not get to use my voice. I used my body to communicate. And then at the age of 21, I was at the peak of my career, and I got into a very serious car accident and threw me out of dancing. I did get back to it a few years later, but in the time I was out of it, what kept coming to me was, I have so much more to say, literally, physically, than I could say with my body. Even though I was a choreographer, all these things, it was just like I have more within me that needs to actually be spoken. And so I went to journalism school and started writing, and that started leading into me using my actual voice. And the reason even why I stopped dancing was, yes, I need to use my voice in the world more. This is so I got my voice from a car accident, if you will. I was delivering someone else's information. It was, here's this information, you're trained, you memorize it, sort of like acting, and then you sort of make it your own and you go up there, and nothing about it ever felt right for me. It made me feel like, I don't think I want to deliver other people's information. I could, but and it kept, the feedback I kept getting were things around presentation, you can't show your bare arms, or you don't look whatever, all these things that seemed to serve me as a dancer in this more corporate environment where you don't fit into this mold. And I'm like, that's what I left with dancing anyway. Why do I want to go back to this?
What are your biggest dreams for your voice?
Oh, my biggest dreams for my voice. I mean, really, when I first kind of came to the idea of voice, it was sort of being like an Oprah, was kind of using my voice to bring other voices forward, I think, was the space in the container that I hold to sort of bringing in that journalism, bringing in the choreographer, bringing all these, like, the ways to just bring people and their uniqueness more forward. So asking sort of the unexpected questions, or, the really secret superpower kind of questions of people. Those are the things that really fascinate me. So that's what I'm excited about, using my voice to really just give more people permission to use their voices, essentially.
Yeah, that gives me chills, of course. You were actually born a 1 in 8 billion, radiant, vibrant, alive from head to toe, unique, one of a kind being. And then the world told you to do other things to cover that up. So we're going to reawaken it. Ooh, what just happened over there?
No, that's fascinating. I mean, the minute I thought too, the other part about the voice was being a ballet dancer was to be so much like other people. Like, you're not supposed to be unique. That's why it's so passionate for me in a way. And so you saying that thing about you being yourself in that way was, oh, wow. Like,
yeah,
I get to be me now at 52 years old. Like, like, finally get to be myself.
Yeah, you finally get to be yourself, and the world is craving you being you.